somebody asked me about my education, was I formally trained in cows or whatever? Not even close. Honestly, won't be a surprise for anybody who's read my book. For the rest of you, I dropped out of high school when I was 17. It was in my junior year, because I couldn't read. Up until then, I'd pretty much gotten by with being able to remember how things went together, facts, figures, stuff like that. It was all just memory. Sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. Most of the time it worked well enough for me to be able to, manage. And I guess once I got to high school, the workload was just overwhelming for me, and I just couldn't keep up. I couldn't remember enough to be able to pass the classes, basically, and I couldn't read the work, so I figured there wasn't much hope. I didn't understand. I didn't know what was going on. Nobody else bothered asking. So, that's when I made the decision to go ahead and drop out of school. One of the first things I did is I'd gone to my 7th grade English teacher. I loved that woman. She failed me twice. I wound up having to go to summer school because I had failed her class 2 years in a row. I didn't care. She was still my favorite teacher. And I went back after I dropped out, and I told her what was going on. And, obviously she was concerned. And she gave me a book and told me to take it home and read it. And it pissed me off, because I just finished telling her, that basically I'd quit because I couldn't read. Now you're giving me this damn book. But I said okay, and what she wanted me to do was just skip the parts that didn't make sense. It sounded stupid at the time, but I figured I'd try it. Well, I wound up doing that, and I'd skip one part, and then I'd read another, and skip another part, and read another, and that kept on. So I went back a few days later, and she asked me what the book was about, and I told her, and it was honestly one of the first times that I could remember reading an entire book, because the rest of the time, I'd get so frustrated that I'd just give up on it. And she realized that my brain was compensating when I would get to the parts that didn't make sense to me. My brain would extrapolate from what I've read so that it would make sense to me. And that way I could, fill in the gaps, so to speak. But she's the first one that ever made sense of what I saw. I felt like I was smart, but I couldn't figure out why I was so stupid. And it wasn't until years later, that I realized, hey, they're talking about me. The words being backwards, the letters being different, not being all jumbled up, not making sense. They were seeing the world through my eyes. And I finally had a name for it. You know, back then, I don't even know if they knew about it or had a word for it. But now we call it dyslexia. And that was, you know, that was what I considered to be my undoing. So, she helped me out. She told me, you know, she taught me how to make sense of what I was seeing and make sense of what I was reading. And I guess because I had gotten so used to picking things up on the fly, it made it easier for me. The first summer that I dropped out, I probably went through 1,000 books and read every one of them.